Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. This one is the toughest video I've made since I've started this channel. The Ravens lose to the Chiefs 17-10, which is just a crazy score to start this off. I mean, who would have predicted 17-10? But shout out to Kansas City, especially their defense. Steve Spagnuolo, their corners played great. McDuffie, Snead, Chris Jones putting pressure on. I feel like their defense won this game for sure. First half was heavy. Mahomes, Travis Kelce, they went off. It looked like they were unstoppable, but that's happened to the Ravens defense a few times throughout this year, and they just settled down, ended up not letting up a single point the whole second half, and only let up 17 points to the Chiefs. If you would have told me that we would have let up 17 points in this game, I would have said we would have probably dominated. Our offense hasn't played this bad all season long. So it's not the Kansas City offense beating our defense, which is what everyone was afraid of, and that's not what happened. It ended up being the exact opposite. So huge respect to Kansas City's defense. They definitely earned this win. The whole team obviously earned the win. The coaching staff, Mahomes, Kelce doing what they did in the first half to get those points in the first place, and 17 ended up being enough. Just a couple heartbreaking plays. Zay Flowers obviously comes to mind. The taunting penalty and then the diving fumble on the inch line to give the Chiefs the ball back and not get any points on that drive, I feel like was the backbreaker. I feel like we'd have been in a whole different game if Zay would have scored that touchdown. It would have been a 3-point game. Who knows what would have happened. Our defense was getting a stop every single time. Well, that fumble was just a backbreaker, man. I feel for Zay, though. He'll be back. He'll bounce back. He's young. He's a rookie. This is his first year ever. And we had 3 turnovers. You're not going to win like that. The strip sack, that wasn't Lamar's fault. I think Stanley got beat. Lamar gets strip sacked earlier in the game. The Zay fumble, and then Lamar's terrible throw, in my opinion, or just terrible decision to throw to Isaiah Likely in triple coverage. I know he was trying to force something, make something happen, but he had an underneath crossing route. I think it was Beckham that was open. He could have hit that. So just a bad throw by Lamar. Lamar was not on his A game today, but I'm not putting that all on Lamar either. He definitely missed some deep shots, but there was a lot of people covered. Like I said, huge respect to Kansas City's defense. They were kind of blanketing our wide receivers for a lot of this game. I think that Lamar definitely deserves some blame for the interception, for the missed deep throws, and just some questionable decisions. But a lot of blame's got to go to Todd Monken as well for not committing to the run game really at all, but especially early. I know towards the end of the game we were behind and needed 2 scores and we were running out of time, so you're not going to run as much. But early in the game, it's just no commitment to the run game, and the Chiefs were stacking the box. They were blitzing a lot, but you still got to be honest and commit to the run game and just be more physical than them. I feel like the Chiefs' defensive line was just more physical than our offensive line, and we just weren't getting it done, which is very rare. So huge respect to that Kansas City defense. I'll keep saying that probably 10 times throughout this. And it's not like I'm disrespecting what Mahomes and Kelce did on offense, in the first half especially, but 17 points is 17 points. We should win that game all day. Anybody would have thought that. So I think our defense ended up in the second half stepping up in a big way. Shout out to Roquan, Kyle Hamilton, but just too many turnovers on offense, a lack of adjustments on offense, not committing to the run game, and then the penalties. Just undisciplined football everywhere you look. I think we had 5 15-yard penalties. That's just crazy, man. We haven't had a game like that all year long. And it felt like all the calls just kept coming on us, just personal foul, taunting. I'm not saying that the refs decided this game by any means. The Chiefs deserve this win. I hate putting blame on refs and things like that, but it did feel a little one-sided. It definitely felt like we were getting a lot of personal foul calls, a lot of taunting calls, and then Kelsey's over here catching and yelling in our face every time, and no calls. So it did feel like they were letting the Chiefs be a little bit more physical and talk a little bit more smack, and then they were calling the Ravens every time they retaliated at all. So it does suck, but it is what it is. I'm not using the refs as an excuse at all. KC deserved to win this game, hands down, all for what the offense did in the first half, and then especially for what the Kansas City defense did the entire game. And it sucks what happened to Zay. Zay balled, man, over 100 yards, really showed up, was kind of the game breaker for us, when we needed it. And he scored that early touchdown, that 30-yard touchdown. That was a great answer to what the Mahomes and Kelsey did for their touchdown on the first drive. So it was an incredible answer. Overall, Zay had a hell of a game, but the taunting penalty ended up not being a big deal. He got down diving into the end zone. He just can't fumble. But great play by Snead, I think it was. So Kansas City just capitalized. They made more plays on defense, and that's really what this came down to. I felt like their defensive game plan was smart. Teams that blitzed us a lot have had the most success, but what I'm so confused by is the lack of adjustment for so long. It's just like, oh, they're blitzing and no one's downfield. It's like, well, let's do what we did against the Texans last week. Create a lot of shorter throws, drop back and have a quick throw, and I felt like could have got the tight ends a little bit more involved, could have got the short passing game more involved. I know we were trying to do that with the running backs, but just didn't seem like they were on the same page. I mean, overall, offensively, at the end of the day, this was probably the worst offensive game the Ravens have played all season long. Just from a physicality standpoint, from a scheme and play calling and adjustment standpoint, from Lamar Jackson's standpoint, this is his worst game in my opinion. I just think that overall our offense had their worst day at the worst time. You got a trip to go to the Super Bowl on the line and you come out so flat on offense. The first half, I was like, man, we're just going to get blown out because the defense couldn't stop much either. But then the second half, defense totally figured out what KC was doing, kept everything in front of them, and they weren't even getting first downs. I mean, it was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Offense had a ton of opportunities, just couldn't capitalize on any of them, really. So, tough one, man. Tough one. It's a terrible way to end this. I'm sure there's not even a lot of Ravens fans watching this. Congrats to Kansas City, back in another Super Bowl. Nothing's new. Must feel good. I think the Ravens will be back, though. There's no reason to think otherwise. Our defense is definitely going to take some hits. We're not going to have this dominant of a defense, but the core's there. And I think our offense will get better as the years go, to be honest with you. I don't really see a reason that they're going to take a step back, but this is a bad time to have your worst day, man. It really was. And at home, in front of that crowd, 10 points. All you score was 10 points. It's just mind-blowing, man. It's painful. And I forgot to announce the giveaway winner. My head's in a million places right now. But shout out Nick Dotson again. He's a second-time winner, I believe. He guessed 19 yards for Andrews. He ended up having 15. Nobody really did anything stat-wise except for Zay Flowers. Running backs had no yards. Receivers had no yards. Odell was catching a few at the end there, but just nothing going all day long until the end. I think Lamar ended up throwing more yards than Mahomes. The Ravens' total offense had more yards, but that was just because of that second half. But it wasn't leading to points. You can't have. Who cares if you have more yards if it's not leading to points? So just a rough one, man. 17-10's just a rough one to go out on. And I can't believe that's the way we lost. In my head, I was just thinking Mahomes and Kelsey and, Pacheco. We shut Pacheco down. He never really got going at all. I know he punched the one in on the goal line, but he didn't have a dominant run game. The Chiefs had no run game, in my opinion. And Mahomes and Kelsey had a lot of success in the first half and then nothing. So really, that, in my opinion, is a recipe to win this game. I think our defense had an incredible day overall. When you take all of it together collectively for a full 60 minutes, our defense did enough. Shout out to Kyle Hamilton, man. He's a freak. Second year, first team All-Pro for a reason. And he's going to be a staple of this Ravens defense for years to come, as is Roquan Smith, who had a ton of tackles today. And they did enough, to be honest. The defense definitely did enough, but I'll keep coming back to it. Just falls on that offense. Offensive line, Lamar, Todd Monken, blames to go around. Zay Flowers a bit. I know it sucks to say that, but it's true. You can't fumble on the inch line. It's just something you got to learn from. And Make sure you're constantly protecting the ball, even in those situations. I know he's just diving, trying to make a play, and that touchdown would have changed a lot. It really would have, but whatever. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. We're at home. Kansas City Chiefs are back in the Super Bowl. Congratulations. We'll see you guys next year. I'll be making videos throughout the offseason, so this channel is not over by any means, but the game weeks are over. There's no more football until, August preseason and September, so we're a long way away from any real Ravens football. So hell of a season. Hell of a ride, hell of a journey. I appreciate you guys taking this journey with me during this first year, starting this channel. It means the world, all the support, just tuning in every week and just chopping it up with you guys in the chat, man, or in the comments. It was really fun, and we'll keep building this, and we'll keep doing this as the years go, and I'm not going anywhere. Hope you guys aren't either. And I know this one stings. It definitely is going to hurt for a bit, but just keep your head up. We'll be back. There's no reason to think that this Ravens team's not going to be good moving forward, but there's definitely going to be a lot of changes. We're going to lose probably quite a bit of free agents on defense. Might lose a coach here and there. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can keep this coaching staff intact somehow. But yeah, I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Once again, congrats to the Chiefs fans. Love y'all, Ravens fans. We will be back, I promise. Our moment is still there to be written.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.